aqua friends, welcome to my channel. And getting into the spring spirit, I have a beautiful landscape today, and the main attraction is this beautiful cherry tree that's blossoming. Here is the reference photo that I used as a inspiration, but I decided to change the path and have it curve around. Those C shapes are a really nice way of drawing the eye into your painting. So we're going to create the background all in one go, wet on wet. So you're going to wet your paper with a whole bunch of clean water, and we're going to use a nice bright palette, nice spring colors here. I wanted to have a nice cloudy sky with cotton candy type of clouds, just nice and puffy. So I'm using cobalt blue. And as you can see, I'm leaving some white spaces. These are going to make our beautiful fluffy clouds. I'm also going to leave the area where I'm going to be putting the tree, the blossoms of the tree, also white. So the darker parts of the sky are going to be towards the top, and then as I start painting towards the horizon, I am going to back off on some of this blue so that the horizon line is more cloudy. Now, some of these background mountains that I'm making, I'm adding a little bit of quinacridone red in the mix to have some purpley blues. Mixing in some of my sap green as well. Here is a quick shot of a value study that I did. I actually had a hard time. Some of the values I changed so that this painting would pop more. So here's the value study I used. That midground needs to kind of be a little bit darker there towards the horizon line. Going back to basics, it's helpful to do a little thumbnail sketch of what you want to paint and do a little value study to make sure that it's pleasing to the eye. So as I was painting that midground, of course, the foreground was drying on me. So I am carefully wetting. I don't want to wet too close to what I just painted. I don't want any back runs, but I do have to wet that path area in the grass where I'm going to be putting some color. So now that I got that wetness back, I could go ahead and start dropping in my colors. I want this to be very spring inspired, and so the colors that I'm using is green gold. I just love green gold. It's like one of my favorite colors to use, and this is green gold by Daniel Smith. So I'm putting that in the foreground, so I have some nice spring grass here. We'll be adding more greens on top of this, but this is a nice color for an underpainting. So grabbing some of my sap green and dabbing in that color in, and notice I'm continuing to use a big brush, so it's going to put down big areas of paint all at once, and it's going to help me get all the colors in faster than a smaller brush would allow me to do. Now I did want some flowers here in the foreground, so since my painting is nice and wet, just dabbing the end of my brush with some quinacridone red is creating some really pretty florals. At the same time, I need to increase that saturation in the foreground and add in some more darker greens. It is bleeding on the path. You could just wipe that up. If that happens to you, you could control the amount that it bleeds by dabbing it with a piece of paper towel. I have cadmium yellow. I'm also adding in the mix of these little wildflowers in the foreground. Now I'm going to do the path. So I'm just going to be using those same local colors, grabbing a bits of blue and yellow and the red, mixing all three primaries. I have a very muted kind of grayish color for the path here. Now there are some shadows underneath the tree, so I'm increasing the sap green. I do have a little bit of darker green, and my palettes would be the shadow green. I also have hooker's green. And notice I'm kind of painting in the direction that the hill side is climbing up so that you get that elevation effect. And since it's wet, all I'm doing is kind of dabbing these colors in, and they are really making the landscape for me. So using some darker colors, darker greens, getting a little bit more definition here in the foreground. So I could tell that my paper is starting to dry. My brush strokes are becoming pretty defined now, so I'm kind of running out of time. I also want to add some pink to the road and underneath the tree, dabbing in a little bit, few more blossoms here and there in that foreground. So because that tree is farther away from us, we do have to make sure that those little dots of petals on the ground are very small. Notice I switched and I'm using a very small quill brush here, putting some along the path where it would collect on the edges. Now I'm using a toothbrush in order to sprinkle on some of those flecks in the foreground on my path. It's always a fun thing to do in watercolor. All right, so pretty much we're going to let that whole thing dry, and then we could go into painting the cherry blossoms on the tree. For this, I am going to be using some clean water and painting first with just clean water so that when I do drop in my pinks, it will kind of flow around and create some really beautiful gradation of colors. So just creating some meandering lines, some little petals, some little dabs here and there, especially around the edges. now that that is laid down, I can start laying down my pink. And so just grabbing that quinacridone red color, even mixing in a little bit of purple for some shadow areas here and there in the tree setting. So I'm building up that pink slowly. I used a more watery, muted mixture at first. I wasn't sure how bright I wanted it to be, but I do know that I want the overall tone of this painting to be just very playful and cheerful and happy. It's a happy painting, folks. And I'm going around the edges of the trees and just putting in these tiny dots. My Mr. Curious bird is hovering around the edges of the frame. I'm always very curious. All right, so as a final touch, I'm taking some ochre pink, which is much, much, much brighter, just for a few spots. If you were to do the whole thing in ochre pink, it would be just way too bright. So just for a few highlights here and there. I really like the way the foliage is coming out. Now, I want it to spatter, but I don't want it to go everywhere. And so I covered up most of my painting so that I could try getting some splatters on there. All right, so while I wait for the foliage to dry, I'm going to use a very watery mixture of some blues, purpley blues, to do the shadows across the road. Now I decided to add some shadows in the foreground too for a tree that we cannot see, but there would be a tree there on that left-hand side with a nice, beautiful shadow in the foreground here just to add some extra interest. And then darkening up that corner too, it kind of draws our eye across the path. And since the path curves, it kind of draws your eye up to that tree. So getting close to the end here of adding in all these darker colors, I really love how the path looks. It's so cool. So it looks like a very impressionistic painting. All right, so we're gonna let that whole thing dry, and now it's just the tree trunk. And for the tree trunk, I'm just kind of mixing up the colors that we used, some blues. All your primaries are gonna make like a grayish color, and so just kind of mixed up a whole bunch here. You can see my dark puddle on my palette, putting in the tree trunks and some branches. So notice I'm being cautious with that color. I wanted to make sure that I don't go too dark and mess up my value study. It does have to be a little darker, but I'm starting off always light to dark. You could always go darker, guys, but it's harder to get the lightness back if you go too dark. So you're just going to make some meandering lines through your foliage to represent some branches. Adding in a little bit more darkness there for the bark. And you guys can take off your tape. Congratulations, you just made a masterpiece. If you enjoyed this watercolor tutorial, then check out this next landscape. I'll meet you guys there. Thanks for watching.